We felt a passion in college for using teaching as missions. We were both on the track to become educators, and we had speakers come to college who were in the Middle East, and they were just teachers, but they were using their gift and their qualification of teaching to be in a place that was unreached and to minister to people through the classroom and outside. And so God really put that on our hearts, and that's been our passion both in Alaska and now here, to be able to use teaching as a means for discipleship and evangelism and all the opportunities that come through just being in a school setting.
Well, I guess on like the passion line, for me, I like teaching. I got into teaching. I was saved at 17 and I became a teacher because I was basically on a money track, and I realized that really wasn't God's priority, so I didn't want it to be mine. So I decided to become a teacher because I wanted to work with people, and mostly I wanted to be able to tell people about Jesus. That's kind of my heartbeat like that. I guess my passion is I want to say thank you to Jesus for saving me, and in what he's given me in life, this is the best way I know how to do it. So being at Cricks means I'm sharing the gospel directly in my classroom. It validates me being here so I can share with people I run into, and then supporting people that are way better in ministry in Thailand than I would be in 10 years. So all those things, I feel like I'm excited about using my life in what seems to be the most powerful way right now, and God may show us something else that's out there, but I don't see anything beating this in the foreseeable future.
We've found that there are many different modes of church in Thailand. There are some people who meet in a house church, and we went to that for a while and have enjoyed that. There are other small Thai churches, but we don't quite have the language to go to a fully Thai church yet. So we found a bilingual church called Banatitan, which means House of Prayer, and we've really enjoyed it there. It's actually a fairly large church for Thailand. They've grown because they do an English study ministry and have got a lot of college students involved in that. They also have a few of the children's homes that come regularly. So we've enjoyed being part of that. We've started helping with Sunday school and have been encouraged to pray about being involved in their soccer outreach.
They have a lot of outreaches.
Yeah.
Soccer
So there's
well.
plenty of opportunities to get involved there too, just praying for discernment.
So we are involved with a church in Masai, about 40 minutes north of here, and it's primarily a church plant among Shan people group, which is a large people group in Southeast Asia, and I believe 70,000 or so in Thailand, but they have no legal citizenship. They're not Thai, they're Burmese, but political persecution and other issues have forced them out of the country. So the wages they receive are very low and under the table. Many times family members are sold into slavery in order to keep the family afloat. So it's kind of a heartbreaking situation to look at when we go up there and we see these teenage girls and some teenage boys, and we know that their future doesn't look bright by any measure. The only hope they have really is education, but even that, because they aren't citizens, is very limited. So it's hard for us to see, but we're glad that the church plant is there because they are really the means of supporting education in the community, because the family sees more value in selling them than educating them. So that kind of hits at our heart, and we want to be a part of that. So we've been able to be a part of some Bible study up there, and we're going to be running some sports ministry in the coming weeks. And even though we can't speak the language, we've got people there that are willing to translate, and we can provide whatever skills we have, which, because the language barrier keeps us from building those relationships, we're almost like a short-term effort there, but we want to support those missionaries that do have the language skills and can reach them directly. So there have been funny things. So there's been some cultural humor that has taken some adaptation, like when I try to say something in Thai and the Thai person gives me this look like I have no idea. And then they finally realize I'm saying Thai words, or at least I think this is what's happening. And then they're immediately like, repeat the same word I said like 10 times, like, oh, I understand what you mean. So that's always funny. Just people don't expect me to try Thai, and my Thai is so terrible they probably don't know what's Thai to start. So the language has been entertaining.
Yeah, there's been a bit of a cultural adjustment with having kids here in Thailand. Not bad, but a little blonde-haired, blue-eyed baby gets lots of attention, and I actually discovered I really like it for the most part when you go into a crowded little store and you're trying to hold the baby on your hip, and the owner's like, here, and they take your baby and they hold her for you and take care of her, and just like get babysitting with your shopping.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's great. Every once in a while, you're like, okay, done having you take pictures of my children. Let's move on now. We've got places to go, but it's pretty endearing actually how much they love the children and take care of them, even if they're not their own. They're very fond of kids.
Yeah, that's my favorite, being stopped on the street so people can take pictures of your child. It's pretty fun.
I came to Chiang Rai 25 years ago as a single missionary. And in those days, all the missionaries were sending their children away to boarding school. Some missionary agencies at that time were considering allowing the missionaries to do homeschooling, but the norm was to send their children away. And I remember crying with many missionaries when it was time to send their children off to boarding school. And I always thought, it's not fair that in serving the Lord that our children have to suffer. And I kept thinking, Lord, I don't want that to happen. Many of the wealthy Chiang Rai people began to having their children come to Cricks because they wanted their children to have an English education. And we began to see Thai children from very wealthy families begin to accept the Lord. And it's very exciting to me because I feel like Cricks is raising up Christian leaders to take this city for Christ. Right now in Thailand, there's less than 1% Christianity. And the Thais have been very resistant to the gospel. We are reaching children from influential families that have been businessmen, who have been doctors, who have been dentists in Chiang Rai for several generations. And they're sincerely coming to the Lord. They're excited about the Lord. They're going to Christian university. I believe the children that graduate from Cricks will be the type of leaders that will take this city for Christ, that are going to impact this city like the missionaries have been trying to do for years.